All right, everybody. Welcome to another Full Metal MAGA. We got a real treat for you today. Infowarrior, intellectual juggernaut, um, a complete Battlewagon, Cuckslayer, Owen Shroyer. Brother, how are you today?
Battlewagon, man, I like that. Battlewagon. It's been a busy day, man. It's been a busy day. Every day is busy in the info war, but the more and more the censorship happens, the more and more America is responding. So the harder and harder we work.
Yeah, it's like when you start working out, it's hard to work out. Once you start working out a lot, the momentum gets built, and you know it gets easier. It still is exhausting though, but it's a good sleep. We sleep good at night. It's funny because I was watching that you always see the presidents like go from like they age during the presidency. Trump is just like because he sleeps good at night. He's doing what he's supposed to do. I want to get to know you though, Owen. People see you as you're a warrior. You are a warrior in the modern war, and I want to get into a little bit of your background. Like, you're from St. Louis, okay? You went to Christian Brothers. How was that growing up, going to a Catholic high school?
It was a unique experience for a couple of reasons, and at the time, I wouldn't say I took it for granted because I did excel in school, and I took advantage of all the different programs. And in fact, it's cool now because basically I wouldn't say I started it. I mean, it was my class that started it. I was just kind of the ringleader because I'm loud and boisterous and always have been. But like even now at my high school, I go back now and they do the morning news the way we styled it. And so I kind of still see kind of some of the impact there when I was trailblazing back then. But I always took advantage of opportunities that I was given. And, I would say I was very blessed growing up. I mean, I wasn't somebody born into a rich family by any means. By the time I was 18, I was working for myself, to pay bills and everything. But, I'm not going to sit here and act like I wasn't very privileged and blessed growing up. I think all Americans are. But at the time, I didn't realize how important it was coming up with a Christian education because it instilled morals in me from the time I was young that I still carry with me to this day, and that, thank God, pun not intended, trumped all the lack of morality that I experienced and consumed when I went to college for a couple years, which is kind of the crazy thing, too, when I see these college students. It's like I totally understand where they're coming from, and then I can see now the indoctrination of these leftist ideologies that the university pushes on people that I'm glad I got out of. And the real thing I don't like to talk about, but I kind of like to just kind of use it as an example. And we talked about this earlier, Frank, is people have a choice to be a victim or not. Everybody could choose to be a victim at any moment of their life. There's always going to be something in your life that brings struggle and hardship and an obstacle that you can either choose to play the victim and lay down and lose and use the victimhood as an excuse, or you can choose not to be the victim, hurdle the obstacle, crush through the hardship, and persevere and come out on the other side with character and with that experience to know how to be a success. And so I don't really want to get into what I'm talking about, but I could have chosen to be a victim at the age of 20 and 21, and maybe even a little before that. But I had a choice in my life. I could have chosen to be a victim, and I could have laid down, and I could have made excuses, and I could have decided not to try to make something of myself, but I decided the opposite. And I still don't talk about this stuff, and not many people know about it, and I don't care to give the exact details, but I could have chosen to be a victim, and I would have never been here. I wouldn't have been doing this interview with you. I wouldn't have a broadcast at Infowars. I wouldn't have millions of views on YouTube and Twitter. So I just want people to understand that, when I talk about my background, pretty typical stuff. I grew up, I did well in school. I worked hard, I studied. I was gifted enough to not have to struggle too much, where I could still do other things on my own. And, I was always a pretty well-liked guy. But there was a moment in my life, and I think everybody has those moments, Frank. You had your own when, you got excommunicated from your band. You didn't decide to be a victim. You decided to use it as an opportunity and push forward and persevere and build something else. So everyone has that.
People need to be victims for a second, and then it's not failure isn't falling down. Failure is not getting up. and you need to get up. You need to fail and get up, because then you know how good it is to get up again. You know, and it's funny because it would have been better if you went to SLU instead of Christian Brothers. Because
who told you to say that?
No, I actually went to I went to Walsh Jesuit for a couple years in just in between Akron and Cleveland. So I have that. Father Powers was an ex-Marine drill sergeant who was my theology teacher. Who he would make us do push-ups. He would whack us with a pointer, you know, and you go home and tell your folks, and they'd be like, you'd be lucky that they didn't hit you too. And that's kind of been taken out, not the hitting kids, but the sense that it's okay to fail. You need to fail. You know, I want to. You then went to University of Missouri after that.
So I went to, well, there's two different ones. So I want to be clear. I went to University of Missouri Columbia, which is the big one, Mizzou.
Okay.
Yeah, that everybody knows about, and I didn't really focus there. I became quite the degenerate. Got a major in partying, I like to say, and I was the best at it. Believe me, I have the record to show. And but you know, I got my ass kicked by myself, and I came back, and like I said, I mean, people don't even believe when I tell them what happened to me after at my final years at Mizzou, and then afterwards, they don't even believe what happened to me. And, you know, when you talk about getting up, failure is staying down, you know, the other part about getting up is knowing you can get up. If you don't ever stand up after that, you never think you can. But once you have, you realize you can, and you can kind of go on. But no, so I studied, well, I didn't really study much at Mizzou. I was studying psychology, which I did well in grade-wise because it's always come natural for me. And I was in the J school. But I kind of let those studies go, and I was more into partying. So I kind of had to hit the reset button. I went back to St. Louis, started working in sports media, finished my studies in psychology, finished my studies in media studies, and I'm glad that I committed and to do that. And so that's kind of where I ended up in media, and I was always in sports media until, like you said, I woke up and I had the red pill moment. You know, I kind of talked about those.
When were you red pilled? How did you wake up?
So it was the Boston Marathon bombing, and I'm not exaggerating here, Frank. I'm in my first 22 years on this planet, I probably watched a combined hour of news coverage, maybe, and most of that was probably on September 11th. I mean, Frank, I'm telling you, nothing. Like, I didn't follow presidential elections, literally zero. I had zero interest, couldn't care less. It bored me. I didn't want to deal with it. I thought it was stupid. And so what happened was the Boston Marathon bombing happened. So for the first time, you know, current events and politics kind of merged with sports. And so we're on the air talking about the Boston Marathon bombing. And I've always had the same thirst for truth and knowledge, and if you could say the obsession with being right. I mean, I'll admit it. And I've always had that. So when I was covering the Boston Marathon bombing, I wanted to know everything that was happening. So I was studying certain things, doing some background research, and like I said, for the first time ever, I'm watching mainstream news. So I'm doing my own kind of stuff with the internet and different tools that are out there and social media. And so I'm kind of putting my own report together so I can go on the air and know what I'm talking about. But for the first time ever, I'm watching TV news. And so I'm watching the TV news and I'm seeing it, and I'm like, I'm stunned. I'm literally shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, these people are lying to us. I'm like, that's not true. That's not true. And here I am, not even in news or political news, and I already have all this information. I'm like, how are they not telling people this? And then the FBI, I still remember all their names. That's how amazing it was for me. I still remember Rich Delorier. I still remember Ed Davis. I still remember Carmen Ortiz. And by the way, they all got nice promotions afterwards. How convenient. But they covered up whatever happened at the Boston Marathon bombing. I really still don't know what happened. I know the mainstream news lied about it. So anyway, so I'm like, you can imagine, my head is spinning. I can't even believe this. I'm like, oh my gosh, if they're lying about this, what else are they lying about? Because I was one of those guys, if somebody said 9/11 was an inside job, I would say, okay, all right, okay, conspiracy theorist, I get it, whatever, just whatever. I don't really care. I don't want to hear it. Well, after that, it was like everything kind of went through my head, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, they could have lied about 9/11. They could have lied about killing JFK. And so all of a sudden I had this newfound thirst for information, this new hunger for truth that I never had before. And so that's when I started to pivot from sports to political current events. And even my professor, I did my final project for my media studies. I did a breakdown of the Boston Marathon bombing and the media coverage. And even my professor, who was probably a liberal, not a crazed leftist, but definitely a liberal, he was like, this is actually amazing. He's like, I can't believe this. He's like, wow. So that was kind of it for me, just seeing the TV news for the first time and just having the intuition to know that they're lying to us, and then to have the curiosity and the wherewithal to realize, wow, if they're going to lie about this, what else could they be lying about? And it doesn't take long to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's like it's like a tiger that tastes human blood. Then it's like it always has to hunt humans. You tasted political blood, and that opened up everything. And that's what which is a great segue, because leading to Savage Facts and what you do with how you absolutely destroy people with facts. Everyone has the ability to have that moment, and I think all kinds of people have these moments every day, and they make a decision to stay a victim. I'm just going to stay a victim. I'm going to stay asleep. I don't want to wake up. I'm going to stay asleep. And Savage Facts, or Owen destroying with facts, each one of those people that you do that to, whether they like you or not, they're leaving, and for days they're thinking about it, and it's changed them. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. I'm so happy that you did taste political blood, because I've watched you. I've been heavily watching Alex since I came back from Iraq and listening to him. And I've watched you and David Knight. I watch people come and go, and I congratulate you, brother. And I cannot wait to see what you're going to do in your career, Owen, because you are a Battlewagon. You're a Battlewagon, bro. But let me move on. I'm not even going to ask you about Ferguson then. When you were living in St. Louis.
Well, since you brought that up, I'm glad, because let me just say one thing and then go down this road. It's sad, because when I started doing all this stuff on my YouTube channel, because I wasn't really into Facebook with all the photos and all the selfies on Twitter and all that stuff. I just liked raw content. So I went to YouTube and got rid of Facebook and Twitter. And so what's sad is you could have actually gone back. I mean, I'm banned off YouTube. That channel you're mentioning, Savage Facts, I don't know who that is. They just take cuts from my old stuff and put it out there. Yeah, I'm not allowed on YouTube. It's actually funny. I can't even use Google services on my phone. It's that bad. You don't realize how much Google services you use till they ban you. But
I gotta tell you, all of my Google stuff has just been, since I started going on Infowars, it's like completely wacko. It's completely.
So it's sad, because I appreciate your kind words, and I wish people could still go back and watch all the videos I did 5 years ago and kind of watch my transformation or maturity, if you will. But yeah, they just totally erased me. But my Ferguson videos were some of my most popular videos when I was doing that, and I was live, boots on the ground for all of that.
Wow, man. Yeah, I did you do the did you read the article at that university where you stood outside? Who did you? It was some article about some class that was, I think it was University of Texas.
It was Texas State University. And the headline was, "Your whiteness is an abomination." In fact, I believe I still have that story sitting on my desk somewhere. I don't know if the crew wants to go try to shuffle through. Don't worry about it. But I still have that story from I believe it was the Texas State Tribune. I'm not sure the name of it. Yeah, it was Texas State. It said, "Your whiteness is an abomination." And I just read the article live with a bullhorn on campus for everybody to hear. And I mean, honestly, I don't even care. Like, people can be racist against me or whatever. I'm not going to let that stop me. But it's the fact that they think you can't be racist to a white person. It really just shows you the brainwashing.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's completely the land of absurdia. And you got to watch that. I don't know if you saw that thing that Caitlin Bennett did with I should know the guy's name from Youngstown, but it was great.
Joel Patrick.
Yeah, it was so good, man. But Owen, everyone should watch that. I want to ask you some other things though, because I don't want to keep you. I got to ask you this because I ask everybody. What's your favorite color?
Red.
Red. That's my second favorite. What's your favorite ice cream?
Oh, ice cream. I like chocolate. I like cookie dough. I like swirl. I like sherbet. I mean, come on, man. I don't think there's an ice cream I don't like.
What's your favorite holiday?
I'd say right now, it kind of changes, honestly, with time. I don't know. 4th of July.
4th of July. Yes, that's the funnest for sure. What's your favorite book?
Ooh, favorite book? It really just depends on what I'm reading. I've kind of been picking up and putting down some Michael Savage books right now. I like the fiction writing of George Orwell. I like A Brave New World, and then I like A Brave New World Revisited. A lot of people actually haven't read that. It's almost even better. And then there's the lead up to Brave New World that a lot of people don't know of, Chrome Yellow. So that series is really good. I don't know, favorite book. I mean, part of me wants to go back. I'm not even kidding you. And like think about the books I read when I was a kid. But I don't know, favorite book. That's tough to say. That's like saying favorite movie. I'd have to go with the one that I've read the most. That's what I usually, when people ask, I usually just go with the one that I've read the most. And honestly, the book I've read the most would have to be the Bible. So I'm going to go with the Bible.
Nice. But you just mentioned, see, I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep asking people those questions because I did not even know about those books that you just said. And all those books could be your favorite books. And of course, the Bible. Well, Owen, thank you so much, man. I think that what you guys are doing down there is inspiring everybody. It's inspired me. Keep up the good work. And, you know, it's darkest before the dawn. That right now, it might get a little bit worse. It probably will get a lot worse, actually. But they will be writing about us in 50 years. Because this is historic, and that's what matters. What really matters is that there's a future, and you know, thank you for inspiring us, brother. Thank you very much.
Well, you know, I think that, you know, you mentioned the historic times. I think you've realized it. You know, I've realized it. Alex has realized it. You know, Trump has realized it. A lot of people are realizing it now, and trying to leverage it. And of course you would leverage it. You're living human history. Like you said, they're going to write about these times. Why would you not want to be a part of it? Why would you not want to put your fingerprints on this human history? So I'm just honored to be in it with you, man. And I'll tell you, I know that you're up there farming right now and staying busy with Full Metal MAGA, but someday we're going to link up and we're going to cheers glasses, and maybe you'll even teach me how to play the guitar not so badly.
Dude, Owen, I want to get with you. When I come down there, I'm going to make it a point to come down there. We got to make an Infowars band. Let's get everyone down there and let's just jam and see what happens. You know,
I'm down. We got a lot of musicians here, man. We got a lot of musicians.
I mean, I know Greg rips, man. That dude is like, he's a hidden guitar savage. It's awesome.
He's actually I would even say he's a composer now, because he puts all his own music together for all his reports. It's more than just the guitar. It's really cool.
Check out the last Full Metal MAGA I did, the last podcast, the Flo White guy. Greg did all the music for that, and it's awesome. It's awesome stuff. Yeah. Well, Owen, man, thank you so much. I'm going to sign off here. Everybody, thanks for watching this Full Metal MAGA, and we'll check you out next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Owen. Thanks for checking it out. Full Metal MAGA is a place where libertarians, conservatives, classical liberals, apolitical people, musicians and artists can gather. We don't endorse or condemn any candidate or political party. We just want to be able to meet on a common ground and discuss things like we used to be able to do.